Hello everyone, I'm Emjoca Nebula and welcome back to our Nebula Wrestling series. I'll be honest, I tried to record this episode previously and it didn't record properly, so I've taken quite a few actions, and instead of you seeing it along with me, I'm going to kind of retrospectively explain what I've done. So as you might have seen from the last episode, this one is about putting together our starting roster. So, here's me, Emjoca Nebula, and as I explained in the last episode, I've had lots of acting training as a child, and I've had some wrestling training, and our analysts, our team of analysts, have said that they think that I could make a good contribution to the show. They've been very flattering, I think, with my ratings, and they think I'm TV ready, and I'm very keen. This is a dream for me. I think I can contribute, and although I can wrestle to some degree, it's not something I look to do often. I'll maybe do it to fill a gap, but more likely it'll be something I might do on a very special occasion for the right reason that fits in with storylines. But I want to put my hands to the grindstone, so to speak, and I can contribute as a manager, referee, announcer, colour commentator, and personality. So I'll be sort of filling gaps, which could be really important early on with a roster that's we're still trying to get people through the door, because we've got a show on Thursday, Meteor, our first TV show. It's not long. That's not going to be a lot of time to get people through the door. So this is Michael Novogratz. Spoke about him in the last episode. He's our billionaire, our mogul, he's the backer. And he, as I said, used to be in the NCAA. So he's got wrestling pedigree, and our scouts have recognised that. Despite the fact he's 57 years old, they think, they've seen him in the ring, he did some training drills for them, they think he can still go. Now, maybe even more intriguingly, after so many years in the business world, doing constant presentations and public speaking and canoodling with clients, he has learned to communicate very, very well. And our scouts think this will translate very well to the ring. They think he's an incredible talker on the mic. And he loves wrestling, so a lot of this stuff will come very natural to him. And the muscle memory is still there, so he has said that he would like to be an occasional wrestler. Like myself, he doesn't want that to be something that we go to the well of very often. He'll commit to it for a special occasion, potentially. Maybe like our big show, which will be Supernova in the summer. But largely he'll be around as a personality. He wants to be that kind of authority figure. He's disengaging with a lot of his business interests to do this. This is a real labour of love for him. But his shareholders, some trusted business colleagues have said to him that for legal reasons he shouldn't enter this domain on screen as Michael Novogratz. So we've kind of made a bit of a compromise that he would be called Mikey Novo. So it's close enough to know who he is and connect the dots with him in real life, so to speak. But we can avoid a lot of legal ramifications. So Mikey Novo it is. So we can cover some gaps in terms of the roster. Now, Michael has said to me, because of his huge investment in our training facilities, as I outlined in episode 1, he wants these talents to dominate our roster. He wants us to make stars. He wants them to be built properly, and for these people to be given a go. But he realizes that us starting as a very insignificant company, right at the bottom of the barrel, we need to build up with some wrestlers of draw value, of profile. So he's limited me to 12 in-ring workers, and that includes males and female workers. Now, interestingly, and this is a quote from him, he said, I'm allowed 6 workers to fill non-wrestling positions. Now, in that, I don't hear 6 non-wrestlers. I hear 6 workers to fill non-wrestling positions. And maybe that was deliberate. If not, I'm going to exploit the hell out of it anyway, as you will soon find when I show you the moves that I've made. I'll go to that at the end, but I'll just talk about my thought process. So in terms of the non-wrestlers, obviously myself and Mikey can be characters on the show. We both can talk, we both can perform. That's all good, and there's legitimacy in the fact that he's the owner, I'm the head of creative. So that's cool. And we know what we want to communicate, we know what we want to get out there, we know our product, so we can convey that very well on screen, just like Vince McMahon did back in the day. Now, with 6 workers in non-wrestling roles, it seemed to me that we needed an announcer, so we've gone for the best that is available to us. You'll see who that is in a minute. We've gone for a colour commentator. I was very surprised by the person who is rated by our scouts as the best available. But a blessing behind him is that he can also be an in-ring worker. So, announcer, colour commentator, 2 referees, so we've just gone for highly rated referees, and then 2 road agents. Now for me, I thought, okay, I've got an opportunity here to get 2 active workers, 2 in-ring wrestlers who could double up as road agents. There was no rule against that. Mikey's words didn't prohibit that, so that is what I've done, and I've gone for a male and a female because I wanted that balance. And I'm really, really excited about negotiations that I've started. I'm very positive. Now, when it came to our 12 in-ring workers, here was my thought process. At the risk of being sexist, we're starting with an Attitude Era product, and it had a very small women's division. And we are going to sort of copy that, at least for now. My view is also that there is a huge pool of available men and a much smaller pool of available women. Now, while that pool has some incredibly talented women and is growing all the time, we felt that at the moment we would have more options, if you like, from the men. So the ratio I've gone for is 8 men to 4 women. So first of all, I searched for men, and status, obviously active wrestler. I'm avoiding occasional workers because I'm trying to have people that I could book every week if needs be, not just on pay-per-views. Now, we're going to be a very verbal company, lots of talking, lots of storytelling. Character work's going to be hugely important. So this might be a mistake, but I've gone for workers that speak English, basically. And then I'm not limiting it on age really, because having a bit of experience is not a bad thing. Intention to hire, and I have tried to find some main eventers by rating them on popularity in our region, which is the Midlands in the British Isles. So I sort of searched from between 30 to 50, because I think over 50 would struggle to attract. I'd love to get in the likes of Wyatt and Strowman and people like that, but no. Performance skills are very important for us, so typically I've been searching for people over 50 in each category. And where we've got lower down the popularity, so when we've looked for people between 0 to 29, for instance, we've upped like their microphone performance or star quality. So,
Do I care about in-ring ability? Yes, but it's not been something I've shortlisted I've searched based on. That hasn't been something I've used to whittle down. And so while it's made a big difference between choosing between, say, two very entertaining people, who's better in the ring if they're fairly equally entertaining, that makes a difference. And I've tried not to hire workers that just haven't got it at all, that would be unsafe, that would be really clumsy. Because although we're not a pure in-ring bell-to-bell product, it's still important because it's wrestling, you know. So yeah, but we have been searching based on performance skills. So the other thing I've been avoiding is, say, someone like Adam Cole kept coming up in searches to hire. And that's because he's on a written contract, not an exclusive written contract. So that potentially we could even take that over maybe. But I've avoided that partly because I want people available straight away. And if they have a written contract, it can take them a while to get out of that. And also, say if I poached Adam Cole, which would be unlikely anyway, he probably wouldn't even start negotiating with me, exactly. But I looked at, say, a Go-Go, who's English, who's with AEW on a written contract, but English, you know, he's good profile in this country, where we're going to be based. I thought about him, I thought about Jamie Hayter in the same situation, but I felt that if I poked them, then Tony would come at me. Poached. Same with MLW, I loved a lot of the MLW written talent. Jacob Fatu, Tom Lawler, Richard Holiday, Hammerstone. I would have signed them in a heartbeat basically, but I felt that Court Bauer would interfere with our negotiations. It would be hard to get those guys out of their deals, and we could risk getting to Thursday's show with nobody, with very few people available to work, so we wouldn't be able to put a show together. So I just need people through the door because I don't know when our youth talents are coming through. So I've gone for people on handshake deals, on free agency, obviously. Now, because of the size of our company, because we're right down the bottom, we can't actually offer exclusive written deals, which is a shame because I'd like that security. But the benefit is that as we're allowed the 12 in-ring workers, we can cycle. If someone doesn't work out, and there's one in particular that I'm very, very worried about, it's a big risk, then if they don't work out, I can release them and bring in someone else on an exclusive handshake deal. So it gives us flexibility, albeit it doesn't give us security. Because the rule about 12 workers, that doesn't mean that has to be static. But if I want to bring someone else in, I just need to release someone that is already there. So it has to stay at 12 non-homegrown workers. No more, no less. But it doesn't mean those 12 can't change. And indeed, there was people like Shane Strickland, Keith Lee, who are currently unavailable. Tony Storm is another one, who they're going through non-compete deals. I don't know what's happening in Keith Lee's deal. He's on a hiatus. But I felt, let's see with them. Because maybe down the line, in a month or so, we could get rid of someone that we've chosen and bring them in. Particularly Shane Strickland, I'm very excited about him when he's available in about just over a month. Anyway, in terms of women, I did things slightly differently. Because we're an Attitude Era style product, I obviously searched women. I limited it to 45 years old, to hire, speaks English. I didn't worry so much about popularity. It was more performance. And I went sex appeal, because it's very important with our product kind of requiring an eye candy match each week, that we have 75 people who are attractive, essentially. Star quality was high as well, that was a big thing, 60. And I was going 50 for everything else, I think. So, yeah, so we got a fair few up. And from there were a few that couldn't really work very well. Eva Marie is one of them. Very good performance stats, but just couldn't wrestle at all. And so I gave her a miss. Brianna Brandy was another one. Excellent. Very good potential, but not ready in the ring. And we're going to get so many raw, no pun intended, raw workers through our training academies. We need some people who can go a little bit, even though in-ring isn't necessarily the key attribute for us. So anyway, cut a long story short, sorry I'm not doing this with you guys. I did in my previous video, in the video that I recorded, but it just didn't work. The video just went dodgy. So for announcer, I went Mauro Ranallo, best in the business, free agent, makes sense. Ultra Mantis Black for colour commentator. He can also wrestle and great performance skills. Not bad in the ring, not amazing. Yeah, it makes sense. Very entertaining guy. Mike Chioda and Jimmy Corderas for referees. Chioda free agent, Cordera on a handshake deal with Smash, which I believe is a smallish company in Canada. Both easily gettable, I hope. Road agents, I'm excited for these. One male, one female, both in-ring workers. Doug Williams. English, appeals to the fan base, could be our main eventer off the straight out of the gate. Great in the ring. Decline a little bit in certain areas maybe, but not so good in performance stats, but he's going to be a good mentor. And I think overall he's a great person to bring in. And the other one who I'm really excited about, Mickie James. This one will be a bit more touch and go because she's on 2 handshake deals. She's the Impact Knockouts champion, so that binds her there a bit. And she's married to Nick Aldis in NWA, who seems to be an NWA lifer now. So it's going to be a tough sell to get her out of those deals, but I had to go for her. Look at her stats. She's not shown her age. She's phenomenal. 40 popularity. Yes, she's 42, but she's amazing. So she would be a hell of an acquisition. So in terms of top line kind of main eventers, people who are very well known in our region and available, regular workers, not on occasional sort of agreements. Johnny Gargano, not bad, eh? That would be a real coup. Doesn't really have he's very good entertainment wise, but doesn't have a sort of a standout quality. But he's kind of the all-round package really. He's great in the ring, and he's more than serviceable on the mic and in front of the camera. 35 popularity. He'll be kind of the backbone of the company probably. And Curtis Axel is the other. Similar position. Not great verbally, but not bad. Decent in the ring. Bit of a mentor. Yeah. And maybe we cycle him out in a month for Shane Strickland or Killer Cross or someone like that. EC3, a great talker. Alright in the ring, not bad. Not great, not bad. 25 popularity, only on a handshake deal. Yeah, makes sense. James Storm, phenomenal. On the older side, but so good on the mic. Such good character work. Still very good in the ring. Well known. Unemployed. Easy. Hopefully he comes through the door straight away. Yes, he's 44, but there's a lot there still to work with. And that's the value about, that exclusive handshake deals. If they really fade off, then we can just release them, no problems. And we can use them for a time. Now these two are ones that I am less sure about. They were loyal to ROH. An exclusive handshake deal was off the cards. But I've gone for a handshake deal, having seen that both are typically available on Thursdays when we have our Meteor shows, and apart from towards the I think March sort of time, they're free for pay-per-views on the 4th Sunday of the month. And Jay Briscoe is incredible. possibly the most talented on the roster. And I wanted a tag team, you know. Mark Briscoe failed a lot of my whittling down, my attribute tests, but still very good. And it makes sense with the chemistry he's got with his brother. I love the Briscoes, I wanted them in. Joe Hendry, popular, British, good talker. You know, not amazing in the ring, but not terrible. If anything, he could be a bit of a jobber. But he's a fun character, so. I did originally go for Dalton Castle with a view to teaming them up, but I realised I'd offered deals for one more man than I should have done. So I actually withdrew Dalton Castle because I preferred this guy. I've avoided really young hot prospects because we're going to get a lot of youth through, and many of them are quite raw. And yeah, but I wanted one. This guy could be the cornerstone of the company for the future. Great performance stats for a 27-year-old. Decent in the ring, not so good selling, but he's alright, he's okay. But he's so young, he will grow into a real star. And hopefully we'll get some of his ilk coming through the academy, through the many dojos who can be developed. But I think he'll be someone that will keep around for a long time. He won't be cycled out. It's whether we can stop him from being snatched up from, dare I say, the bigger companies who have smaller pockets than us, but more history, more appeal. So for women, Taryn Terrell surprised me. She's not the highest profile, but she's very, very highly regarded. Very, very balanced, good performance skills, which is very strong for me. Sex appeal, I was looking for that. Yeah, I think it made a lot of sense. And then we went for, this is the one that I said was a massive risk. I looked at Tessa Blanchard and I saw young, unemployed, great in the ring, great star quality. That's a top star quality. Decent on the mic, but not spectacular. 28 in terms of popularity. And obviously this big red flag here, scumbag personality type. I think it's been fairly high profile that she has some dirt on her. Whether it's just accusations, I doubt, because often where there's smoke there's fire. We don't know necessarily the extent of it, but it didn't sound good. But she's young, she was stupid, and I believe that maybe she can change. But if she doesn't, then the value of where I'm currently at is on an exclusive handshake deal. If she causes a problem, we can just release her and bring someone else in. But I had to give her a go. I considered what's his name, Austin Aries on the male side, but he also had a very negative personality type, and I think his skill set was wonderful, amazing, but it's just the age difference. He's more set in his ways, Tess is younger, so I'm hoping she can kind of redeem herself here in Nebula Wrestling. And I think we'll have a fairly clear run at her signing because of the aforementioned kind of negative issues surrounding her, the dark clouds. Now, speaking of dark Sheik, trans worker, so very unique, interesting, different, someone who hasn't been exposed at the big companies on TV, so someone fresh, great star quality, great sex appeal, decent worker, Iranian as well. I like that, that's interesting. Transgender, very different, good from a storyline perspective, not going to be exploitative about trans thing, but we could tell a nice story, one that could kind of be affirming and fun, and yeah, who knows. So that's my view. And then Taya Valkyrie, a little bit on the older side, but very popular in the region, good star quality and sex appeal, good in the ring, perfectly decent on the mic. I'm a bit concerned because AAA offer huge deals, so if they're going to compete with us, they offer a lot of money typically, so I'm less sure about Ty maybe. But I think that's a real balanced roster. I'm really excited. So in our next episode, we will cut forward to Thursday, which will be just before our first show, and we're going to see which of these negotiations goes well. Who do we get in through the door? We want as many as possible available on for our first show, because I am not cancelling that show. Yes, if needs be, we might have to hire local, but I'd like to form a show with these guys and maybe a few of our graduates if they're ready. I'm getting some good signs from our dojo leaders, but it's touch and go for Thursday, so it's a big ask. So yeah, I'll see you then, and we'll see if we can get the starting roster established by Thursday. So do tune in next time. Thanks for joining me.